Hi everyone! Since the most watched video on my channel is definitely the Japan visa documents and procedures, which I made 5 years ago before I came to Japan, I thought it would be a good idea to do a remake of that video with information relevant in 2021. So in this video I will lay out all of the different types of Japanese visas, as you can see on screen. I've even made a little PowerPoint presentation to help me. And at the end of the video, I'll show you a workaround or an exploit for those of you who just can't get a job offer before coming to Japan. But before I begin, I must make a little disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, so don't take any of this as legal advice. It's always best to consult a proper lawyer or a proper visa consultant before making any big moves, such as this one. Also, right now in March 2021, it's not possible to enter Japan because of the global pandemic. Still, I hope that all of you thinking about moving to Japan in the future will use this video along with other information and your own common sense to get everything neatly organized and ready for when the time to move does indeed come. Finally, while a lot of the information I give you will be connected with the Specialist in Humanities visa for a non-native English teacher, since this is the process I went through and I understand it the best, I'll do my best to explain other types of visas as well. Okay, let's start. Right now, Japan offers 8 different types of visas, which will enable you to stay in the country for a long period of time. These are the highly skilled professional, working, general, specified, startup, diplomatic, official, and medical. Since you're watching this video, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're mostly interested in living and working in Japan and not coming here as a diplomat or to receive medical attention. This basically gives you 2 main choices to choose from: the highly skilled professional visa and the working visa. The general visa is for unpaid activities, mostly of a cultural nature, which enables you to come to Japan and study, for example, Japanese or the tea ceremony or something uniquely Japanese. But I'll talk more about that later. The specified visa is for spouses of Japanese nationals, children of Japanese nationals, etc. The startup visa is something you can use if you want to start a company in Japan. For this you need, I think, a minimum of 5 million yen to invest and a very lengthy process. Now for this startup visa, you really can't do this by yourself. You'd need to consult a lawyer and an accountant before trying to do anything like that. The diplomatic visa is for diplomats. The official visa is for people engaged in work at diplomatic offices, consular offices, who are not diplomats but administrative staff, for example. And the medical visa is for coming to Japan and getting medical treatment. But since we're interested in living and working in Japan, thus earning money, we'll focus mostly on highly skilled professional and working visas. So let's start with the highly skilled professional. It's a relatively new addition to the family, and it comes in 3 categories: academic research, highly specialized and technical activities, and advanced management. Basically, to qualify for this type of visa, you need to achieve, or you need to get at least 70 points from a points calculation table. This actually measures your Japanese language ability, your proficiency in your particular field, and just your contributions to society overall. If you can qualify for this visa, however, there's a 90% chance that you will not have to do it by yourself. The institution or organization bringing you to Japan will do most of the work for yourself. But what you can do before that is take a look at the points calculation table, check if you qualify, if you have the 70 points, and if you do, start searching for an organization willing to sponsor your arrival to Japan. I'm going to put a copy of this presentation, or actually a link to this presentation, as well as all of the websites that I mentioned and everything that I mentioned down in the description. So be sure to check it out. Okay then, moving on to the working visas. As you can see on screen, there are 16 types of working visas, and basically the prerequisite for getting each one of these is a job offer. So it's your responsibility to contact a Japanese company to apply for a job and get a company to promise to sponsor you before coming to Japan. Unfortunately, this is not something I can help you with, so please don't ask. What I can do, however, is recommend some popular job hunting websites, which have different categories, different industries, and different location-based searches. So if you have some time and take a look, I'll also put the links in the description. As for current and future English teachers, right? If I were you, I would focus on applying to the large eikaiwas, such as GABA, NOVA, Berlitz, ECC, EON, etc. Simply because they are really well versed in getting people to come to Japan, and they are quite skilled with the paperwork necessary for the process. Another route you can take, if your country is qualified for this, is the JET program. Getting accepted to the JET program is probably one of the best, if not the best outcome for an aspiring English teacher. Steady salary, quite high at the industry level. Housing support throughout your stay in Japan, beautiful. Finally, you could always apply directly to a high school or junior high school or the Board of Education. But your chances here are the slimmest, because maybe 1 out of 25 different schools would be willing to actually bring in somebody from abroad. Okay, once you get a job offer, this is what's going to happen. This is a typical flow of getting an entry permit to get into Japan. Your employer, your future employer, will send you a list of documents that you need to prepare. You will send those documents back to your employer, then they will fill out an application form on your behalf and submit it to the Immigration Bureau. The Immigration Bureau will issue you a certificate of eligibility and send it to your future employer. They will then send it back to you, to your home country, and you will take this paper to the Japanese embassy or the consular office in charge of your country, which will then, based on that paper, possibly some additional papers, additional documents, and maybe an interview, grant you your entry permit. At this point, I'm afraid I can't tell you exactly what these additional documents may be, because this depends on so many factors. How big and how trustworthy is your sponsor? Do they regularly hire people from abroad? What qualifications do you have? There are just so many factors to consider that this is really going to be a case-by-case kind of situation. In my case, as a non-native English teacher, these are the documents I needed to submit to my employer before they actually applied for the certificate of eligibility on my behalf. My diploma or graduation certificate, grades transcript, a letter stating that the language of instruction was English, which will serve as a degree verification document. Because to teach English, you need to have 12 years of schooling in English. So it was really important to show that at my university, all of the classes were in English as well. Official certified translations of everything above, visa sponsorship application information sheet, which you will usually get from your employer, one passport photo in color, one copy of my passport's first page with the photo, the signature, the name, and details, in color. Let's see, a letter of commitment addressed to my employer, where I promise to do my best at work. A cover letter addressed to the Immigration Bureau of Japan, where I explained why do I want to come to Japan. Degree verification documents if the statement about the language of instruction is not used for these purposes. My updated CV and the authorization for the employer to submit all of those documents on my behalf to the Immigration Bureau. If you're interested in a detailed explanation about each of these documents and the troubles I went through to get them, because a lot of these things don't exist in my country, please take a look at the original video from 2016, or 2015 actually. I'm going to link it up here in the card somewhere and also down in the description, so please take a look. Moving on, very recently there has been another category made available for people who wish to come to Japan as part of a sort of a unique skills program. This is not a trainee type of visa, which has been available since I think 2013 or 2014. But it's for people who are already established professionals in the industry. This is the specified skilled worker visa. And what makes it unique is that unlike the regular working visa, you don't need a university degree and you cannot apply by yourself directly for this kind of visa. It needs to go through an organization. Sorry. Also, you can only apply to work in one of the 14 predefined industries given here. Right? Take a look at the presentation if you download it. Most people applying for this kind of program are from nearby countries such as Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, etc. And participation in this program is not extremely common, at least recently. However, a very important word of warning. There have been many cases of people using very questionable, bogus agency services to come to Japan, right? Creating massive debts for themselves and for their family. Some of these people have to pay 50 or 60% of their monthly salary to repay the debts incurred by the agency for bringing them to Japan. So never, ever, ever trust an agency to get your paperwork in order for you, or help you come to Japan, or help you to get your visa. 99% of the time, this is a bogus agency that's only after your money. If you want real information, safe information about coming to Japan or moving to any other country in the world, always contact the embassy directly or the consular office. They will give you the most up-to-date and the safest information possible. Okay, finally, what do you do if you're from a country that does not have a work holiday scheme with Japan, that is not part of the JET program, and you just can't find a job before coming to Japan, but you've exhausted all of your options other than simply buying a ticket and showing up at the front door? Well, there is a workaround, but I must say, I don't support this path. It's risky, it's super expensive, and you may not achieve what you wanted to achieve in the first place. So please proceed with caution. I will give you the necessary steps though, just for educational purposes, nothing else. Basically, almost anybody can come to Japan and stay here as a tourist for a maximum period of 3 months. Many people do this and then use their time here to go job hunting. This might work if you're a native speaker who wants to work as an English teacher, or if you have some kind of immediately applicable, employable skill, like programming, for example. Some people get lucky and they land a job offer while in Japan. Most people don't. But if you're a non-native English speaker, and you want to start teaching English, why not consider one of the other types of visas mentioned early on in the video, such as, for example, the general visa for cultural activities. The requirements for this visa is you can apply to come to Japan to study a uniquely Japanese thing: language, ikebana, flower arrangement, judo, whatever. With this visa you can stay for, I think, a maximum of 3 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the downside is that you have to sponsor yourself. You have to prove to the Japanese government and the Immigration Bureau that you have enough money to support yourself during your studies in Japan. Basically, you're not allowed to work. You're not allowed to earn money with this kind of visa. There's a workaround that as well. You can get something called a permit to engage in activity other than that permitted under the status of residence previously granted, which in the common vernacular is just called a part-time license, right? Which will enable you to work, but to keep the visa you would still need to have a greater amount of hours in a week dedicated to studying than the amount of hours dedicated to your part-time job. A general requirement is around 16 to 20 hours minimum spent in school. This is different from a regular student visa because you're not studying for an accredited program or at an accredited university, but rather you want to finish a course enabling you to deepen your understanding of Japanese culture. Be warned that on average, the amount of money you're going to need for 1 year is about $30,000 or 3 million yen. That's at least the target amount that the Immigration Bureau usually quotes when asking for this kind of guarantee. I do plan to make a separate video on the living costs in Japan, monthly rent, food costs, transportation costs, etc., with up-to-date information, of course. But for now, just take this with a little grain of salt as the average monthly costs of living in Japan. So there you have it. These are all of the different types of visas available for coming to Japan. Is there anything I missed? Is there anything you'd like to add? Do you have any questions? Please leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to read it. I might not be able to answer each and every one, but I will definitely read them. And please consider subscribing for future videos. Thanks for watching the video, and good luck with your plans to come to Japan. Hopefully the situation will soon be over and your dream can come true. Thanks a lot, and bye-bye.